It's been 4 days since we lost power from Hurricane Helene. It hit last Friday. It is now Monday afternoon. We still don't have any power, but before we get too far into that, first we're going to just talk real quick about Western North Carolina and that they're in our prayers. It's been absolutely devastating up there. Some of the videos that have come out have been absolutely gut-wrenching to see. We spend a lot of our summers up there. We love to go up into the mountains, and some of the places that we go to aren't even accessible right now. And I've seen some of the pictures from the highway that's destroyed to Hot Springs, which is one of our favorite little towns to visit, and Boone, and then especially when you start getting over to Western North Carolina, there's places that aren't even connected to people right now. We lost cell phone for a day where I am right here, but I didn't have all the flooding that they have, but I'm seeing the military helicopters fly over to Western North Carolina to the mountains every couple hours out of here, taking them supplies. So all those people are doing amazing work helping those people. It's just absolutely insane, all the stuff that's happening up there. In our area, we've dealt with the downed trees and the power outages, and the workers have been putting that all back together. They're doing a great job. And so today I'm just going to talk about all the stuff that we used at our house during this event. So one thing I learned is that I'm going to need more than one tank of gas for my generator. I've never used our generator before. We actually bought it in 2020 after another storm came through. We lost power for 3 days, maybe 2 days, and I thought I'm going to buy a generator, so I bought one on Black Friday, and it's been sitting in my garage since then unopened. So we opened it this weekend, and it went through 2.5 gallons about a day. We did order a few more on Amazon. Who knows when they'll come up, and so that's one thing real quick that I've had to order for next time. And gas cans I can just keep empty under my house or somewhere, and then when an event comes I can fill them up. Or if I ended up filling them up, get power back, I can use the gas for my car or something. And so I have not had to fill up my car with gas. We went to the gas station, we just put gas in the containers, did not fill up the car, so that everybody can hopefully get the gas they need. So I'm going to show you all the things that I used. So the first thing we're going to look at is the generator. So let's go outside and check that out. All right, let's look at this Honda generator, kind of on a hill. I bought this thing on Black Friday in 2020 after a hurricane came through and knocked out power for 2 days. And I was like, I'm gonna buy a generator on Black Friday. And I think I saved like 200 bucks. And it's been sitting in my garage for 4 years. Sometimes I see it, I think, well, that's basically $1,000 that's been sitting there. But when this storm happened, it has been worth every penny now, because we have used this to power our fridge. We have some of our neighbors' food in our fridge. We've been able to help them. We've been able to make ice and give ice away. So it's not only helped us, it's helped our neighbors, which is also important. But let's take a look at it. So this is actually the next day now, and we are still without power, so we are starting day 5. And so I brought it down here just to show you this Honda generator that I'm doing. It needs to add a little bit of gas, so we're gonna do that real quick. But it's been working really well, and it's really simple maintenance. I've had to do 2 oil changes already. The first oil change is after 15 hours, and then it said the second oil change is after 100 hours, but it made it about 70 hours, and then it kept turning off, and there's a little light that said oil level, so maybe it just needed to be topped off, but I changed the whole oil. And one cool thing is it comes with an app, and the Bluetooth app will tell you how many amps it's using and when the oil needs to be changed, and a lot of the other little things that could be changed, like the air filter and all that kind of stuff. I don't think it's actually using sensors except for the oil. It looks like it's just a timer, so however many hours it's been running, that it kind of knows what maintenance you need to do. But it opens up pretty well. You put oil right here, and I changed it. I'm just using the Honda oil, and it's been simple. It's just one tool, so when you're having to do maintenance on something, I actually ended up doing it at 1 o'clock in the morning, because that's when it kept turning off. I could hear it turning off. I knew that something was wrong, so I came out, and my first guess was oil, and that's what I ended up changing. We have it about 25 feet away from the house, so I have 2 50-foot cords. One just goes to the refrigerator, and then the other one goes into the house, and it has a 3-pronged end that I have found very useful. That way you're not daisy chaining cords into each other. And so I have a TV into one, it's LED, it's not using much power. Old PlayStation that we've pulled out to use this week because it can't go on the internet. It's an old laptop I was using to make some videos this week. One of the problems I'm getting right now is running out of clothes. So I think I'm gonna try to connect the washing machine to it, and we'll see how that works. Because I can keep it 25 feet away from the house, I have to have the extra long cord. But I do have 2 carbon dioxide detectors that I've put on the back side of the house that are closer to it, so that in case anything is getting into the house, we'll know. And we use those for hot tent camping. So I just have those, and so I'd rather be safe than sorry. It's real easy. We're gonna just put some gas in here. There's a little red ring on the inside, and then when you fill it up and you get to that spot, you know it has enough fuel. And this is 2.5 gallons, and I've bought 3 more of these on Amazon, but I have no idea when they'll show up because I've been going through about 1 of these a day, and that's somewhat on eco mode and somewhat on full blast. At nighttime I have been running it on eco mode because it's just the fridge, and I've gotten the full probably about 8 hours on the, it's maybe about a gallon of gas in here. So I haven't had to wake up at all at night except to change the oil to make it work. But as you can see, it has the 2 plugins, it has the eco button, and 2 things to connect up to another generator. If you have another one, you can have them work together. So it has 3 lights if it's working, being overused, and oil change light. And that's the one I noticed last night that I had to switch. So to start it, you have on, all the way up here, and off, and then right here lets it run but gets the fuel out of the carburetor, if that's how it works. I'm not a engine person, which makes this really easy for me because it has an app that's basically telling me if something's wrong, and then I know what to do and how to fix it. So let's take it back up and we'll get it started again. We'll turn this to on. We'll see if I can pull it right here. Look at that. So this is eco mode, and we'll turn it up to full. So this is full power right here, and now we'll turn it to eco mode. As you can hear, it'll be less. Quite a bit less. It's not very loud at all. It's maybe a little bit less than a lawnmower. But I'm not gonna stand around here while it's running so I don't get poisoned. So now that the generator is running, you can save power on many different batteries. And I'm gonna go through some of these real quick. I did a whole video specifically on them, so you can watch that. But we just got power back yesterday, so we made it 6 days without power. But over the time since I filmed the intro and now, we have learned a lot more about the damage in North Carolina and it is heartbreaking to see. I can see the mountains from here, and a medical helicopter just flew over from the Army, and they have been non-stop delivering goods to the mountains for all the people. And now that we have power, we've donated our generator to friends and other people to use, and we have people coming here to stay. But our issues are definitely not as bad as what those people in the mountains are going through right now. And some of the videos I've seen of roads that were along the river that are just completely gone is absolutely heartbreaking. So we're still doing what we can to help them, praying for them. I heard someone say when this kind of stuff happens, we're all neighbors, and that's true. And these people are neighbors to the north, and we have spent a lot of time in those mountains, and there's a lot of just wonderful people that are going to be struggling for a long time. So we will make sure that we can keep doing what we can to help all of them. So one thing, you can hear the helicopters now. So one thing that we really found useful when the power went out is USB power, which is a great thing that has really taken off, you know, in the last 10 years or so. So we have some power banks. This is a big one. I made a video that's just about the power banks I use, so I won't go over them too much. But this one for 6 days still has 38% of the battery left. So I did charge these before the storm. I planned a little bit, and I had these charged. So the benefit of these is they have USB outlets, and the flashlights that we used, that we got last year at Christmas, have USB charging batteries. So the worst is when the power goes out and then you don't even have a flashlight. But one of the ways to recharge these flashlights is by USB. So that was very, very helpful, because when you don't have outlets that work to charge rechargeable batteries, and then when your batteries go out, you're kind of stuck, or you have to hook up to a generator. You'd rather use a generator to keep your fridge going and other things. We did use a generator to charge these little ones a little bit during the day when we weren't doing as much. But having these to be able to charge batteries was one of the most useful things that we had. We also have USB fans, and so it did get a little warm towards the end, and if you have a USB fan, you can just plug this in. We use this for camping, so I've done videos about these too, and you plug them in and you have a fan that is helpful during a power outage or when you're camping. But having a fan when it was just hot, get the air moving. If you're inside the house, the air's not moving around. The weather wasn't too bad, thankfully, for rescue reasons and for the people that didn't have power. But if you wanted some sort of fan, USB fans work. So just having things that run with USB power was very, very helpful. And then you can put it into a bunch of different chargers like I have here. So now let's talk about food. We ended up using our camping stove that runs off of propane. We use that all the time camping. So for us using it's not a big deal. There's many different types of camping stoves. It's kind of nice just to have. So even if you want one to take to the park for a picnic, we've done that and just made macaroni and cheese. But this week we made some macaroni and cheese on it. We made some chicken patties on it. We made some bagels on it with our little toaster. So that just kind of was very useful to have that outside to cook. Helped the weather was nice, and those just use propane tanks. And then another thing that uses the big propane tanks is this Ooni oven. We really ever only use it to make pizza, but I did try to make a frozen pizza on it. It went okay, and we did make some frozen chicken strips on it from the freezer. That went well. So there's a lot of different ways to make it work. We also, when we had the generator, we used a little flat top that you plug in and made pancakes on that. Pancakes worked really well because we had a mix and all you had to add was water. And so you can get a whole meal from that with just water and pancake mix. So you can hear more helicopters going over now. First night we made tacos because we had some meat. We didn't want it to go bad, so we made that on the camp stove. So we do have two big propane tanks. We kind of got lucky because they both were pretty full. We don't use them too much in the summer, so we got kind of lucky that they had propane in them. You know, for about a day when it first hit, it was kind of hard to find propane and gas, but none of that stuff was really affected where we are. So after the run on gas and propane the first day, by the end of the next day in the afternoon, most places had at least something that you could use and the lines weren't too bad. But that first Friday afternoon, there were definitely lines and people just didn't know what was going to happen, and you know, panic buying sets in. I'm usually the kind of person that waits to the end, and there might be less, but I'm not waiting in line for an hour for something that is not needed right away for me. And thankfully, I didn't need it right away. So I like to save money, and one of the most expensive part of camping has become firewood. So 3 years ago, I bought a battery-powered chainsaw from DeWalt, and this thing has worked really well just to cut up little limbs that people will give me, and then I'll cut them up and put them up here to save. But this weekend, we actually had, you know, thousands of trees come down. And so we had a tree that came down into our neighborhood, and so we went out and cleared that up. I mean, I got all of this wood on this side, and there's a whole bunch over here that I haven't even split yet. And I did all of that with this DeWalt battery-powered chainsaw. And I still have a light on both of my 5-volt batteries. So this thing is a little beast. And because I don't use a chainsaw all the time, a battery one is perfect for me. The benefit is it could sit in my garage for almost a year and a half without being used. And all I had to do was get my battery, put it in, and it was ready to go. It does need chain oil, so I pick up some chain oil. This is some premium bar and chain lubricant that I put on, and so I went through about half of it. So you do need to keep adding that every little bit, but this thing really was really cool, and it saved me a bunch of money. I cleaned up the road, and I brought back some of the larger pieces and split it up. Made the road look nice and neat. Now it's clean coming into our neighborhood. Trying to make it look as nice as we can and hopefully get people back to as normal of a life as they can. I know some people it's going to take years or they'll never be normal again. And so at least trying to clean it up. So now I am full with wood for next year. I was starting to get low. As you can see, this is all the wood I had left, and so all of this is new. I actually put a wood meter into it and it's about 47%, so it wasn't gonna burn now even if I try. So it'll take about a year for this to dry and it'll be ready to go next summer. Hopefully this reminds you of some things that you might need for when this happens to you, because it seems like this just keeps happening. And so it did take 4 years from the last time to this time, but this time was worse than the last time. So having the generator just made this whole thing a lot easier for us to deal with this time. That would be the biggest thing if you can find one. And if you're around somewhere like now, you'll probably find some next week that people are selling that they used for a couple days. And so a lot of them are, people are getting their generator at the end, and then thankfully they're getting them, but they're hopefully getting power back soon. Generators were hard to find for the last 3 days, obviously, because everybody was trying to buy one. So mine sat in my garage and I'm using it. So the generator and the USB flashlights have been absolutely amazing. Chainsaw is just something that's beneficial for us because we wanted to collect some wood, and there's tons of wood right now to collect, and people are giving wood away, obviously, because it's everywhere. So thanks for watching. Hopefully we'll be back to normal camping stuff soon. We do have Christmas lights coming up, and that's something I just love to do. So thank you for watching.